Hello and welcome to Football Daily, where today we're finding bargain strikers for every budget this summer. While Havertz and Icardi are moving for mega money, these goal scorers are available on the cheap, and could potentially be the superstars of the future. Let's go! 10. Odsonne Edouard. Celtic fans must have mixed emotions about their stars leaving. The success enjoyed by Van Dijk, Dembele and Tierney has proved that the club remains a production line for high-class talent, but has also seen the boys forced to rebuild again and again as a resurgent Rangers side seek to prevent a historic run of 10 titles in a row. But necessity is the mother of invention, and Celtic have found stars where other clubs don't bother to look, signing Odsonne Edouard from PSG's academy for a club record £9.3 million in 2018. The Frenchman had netted 9 on loan the previous season but exploded after making the move permanent, delivering 21 goals and assists in 32 appearances in 2018-19 before leaping forward again last year, contributing over a goal a game with 22 strikes and 12 assists in 27 matches. That meant he was more prolific by himself than 6 of the SPFL's 12 sides, and currently has a record of a trophy every 25 games across his career. Owing a 40% sell-on to PSG, Celtic have made it clear that it could take £40 million to convince them to sell. But that's a reasonable fee for a 22-year-old who couples lethal finishing with exceptional creative talent. Having conquered Scotland, the Prem is calling for French Eddie. 9. Rhian Brewster. 2019-20 may have been a glorious year for Liverpool, but for Jurgen Klopp's rotation players, the glory was mostly experienced from the sidelines. Having netted in a Champions League final the year before, Divock Origi was handed just 700 minutes in the Prem, while Shaqiri saw less game time than Nico Williams. Rhian Brewster had the same problem over the first half of the campaign, making just 3 cup appearances, and so made the smart move in joining Swansea on loan in January. At the time, the Swans were on a horror run of just 3 wins in 11 games, but over the back half of the season, the 20-year-old netted 11 times in 21 starts to lift the Welsh side into the playoffs. The only under-22 to score more was Brentford's Werner, who played 3,000 minutes to Brewster's 1,700. And though Swansea were easily knocked out of the playoffs by Fulham, the Englishman's performances were strong enough to see him linked with Premier League clubs like Villa, Leeds and Sheffield United. A low-cost guarantee of goals, Brewster should be a target for every cash-strapped club, if Klopp can be persuaded to part with the forward once again. 8. Folarin Balogun. With Saka, Willock and Nketiah in the senior squad, and Malin, Gnabry and Benacer shining at other clubs, the Arsenal Academy is once again among the continent's best, and the latest hot prospect from Per Mertesacher's setup is Folarin Balogun. The American-born striker is eligible to feature for the States, England and Nigeria at international level, and could leave the Gunners for around £8 million this summer, having failed to agree a contract extension. Promisingly, one of the smartest clubs in football, Brentford, considered Balogun as a potential Ollie Watkins replacement, with Arsenal turning down their £5 million bid. And though he's yet to play a senior game, the 19-year-old's record for the reserves is outstanding. After helping the Gunners under-18s to a title in 2019, he was promoted to the under-23s for 2019-20, going on to contribute 14 goals in 15 appearances despite his age. A quick forward who likes to run in behind, he's been likened to Aubameyang, and with his deal at the Emirates expiring in 2021, he'd be a cheap, homegrown gamble for a Championship or lower Premier League side to make. Before we go any further, just a quick reminder to subscribe to Football Daily and hit that notification bell to never miss one of our fantastic top 10s. 7. Borja Mayoral. Ever since he was loaned to Wolfsburg at 19, Borja Mayoral has been tipped as the future of Real Madrid's attack, and though at 23 that no longer looks likely, the Spaniard seems assured of an excellent career. The 6-foot forward who joined Real at 10 years old has spent the last 2 campaigns on loan at fellow top-flight club Levante, and in 2019-20 netted 8 times in La Liga, his best return in senior football. That's solid enough, but the underlying numbers are even better. According to XG, Mayoral should have ended up with 10 goals and a further 4 assists, giving him 0.6 XG per 90, better than everyone at Real Madrid last year except Benzema. That's despite Levante's shot-shy attack only giving Mayoral about 2 attempts per game, and the youngster is capable of contributing creatively and in ball progression too, making at least 1 chance and completing 1 dribble per game. Not amazing, but useful from a young centre-forward. Pursued by Lazio and Fiorentina, Mayoral seems set to join Valencia for just €15 million. And if he makes good on the promise of last season, it could prove a rare win for the East Coast side. 6. Matthias Cunha. We're not going to pretend Matthias Cunha is a risk. The Brazilian has under 25 goals and under 100 appearances at senior level, and a third of those games came in Switzerland, where he made his name at FC Sion before joining RB Leipzig for £13.5 million in 2018. However, the forward is already linked with PSG, and it only takes a glance at his stats and match footage to see why. Cunha moved permanently to Hertha Berlin in January, with the Red Bulls accepting a profit of just £3 million on the 21-year-old, and he's already making his former club look foolish. He netted 5 times in 11 games following the switch, for a goal every 130 minutes, better than Salah or Kane last season. And while it's a small sample, his 4 shots at 0.5 xG per 90 are the same output as he put up in Leipzig, suggesting that he'd be able to maintain this level of output over a longer stretch of games. Competing for a spot with Dodi Lukebakio and Christophbaumgartner will have only toughened Cunha up, and his pace, skill and 6-foot frame should see him translate well to another big league. If the Parisians end up moving on, an ambitious mid-table side should strongly consider a swoop. 5. Christophbaumgartner. We've tried to find some names you won't know for this 10, and if you're familiar with Christophbaumgartner, consider applying for a job with Tifo Football. The 21-year-old scored 7 for Hoffenheim in 2019-20, making him the 4th most prolific under-23 in Germany, with only Sancho, Haaland and Havertz ahead of him. The Austrian is technically a number 10, but also played up front, on the left and in central midfield across the season. That means he can create for his teammates, beat opponents and even win possession back. But despite being shifted around, his most impressive feat was maintaining a rate of over 3 shots and 0.7 expected goals per 90, the same as Christian Pulisic and Sadio Mane. In fact, XG suggests he was unlucky to only get 9 goals and assists in the Bundesliga, indicating he should have been closer to 12, an excellent showing in his first full year. Handed his debut by Julian Nagelsmann, the academy graduate is perhaps the club's most exciting attacker since Firmino, and is part of a bright young generation at Hoffenheim, alongside Stefan Posch and Dennis Geiger, but a big offer from a bigger team would surely turn his head. 4. Dusan Vlavic. Dusan Vlavic has gone under the radar at Fiorentina this season. Federico Chiesa is linked with Man United and Juventus, Franck Ribéry was named La Viola's Player of the Year, but Vlavic is yet to see the same sort of press, despite contributing the same number of goals as Ribéry, just 6, across the Italian campaign. The Serb was a title winner in his homeland by the age of 17, and now 20 is 6'3", provoking Ibrahimovic comparisons. But given his surprising mobility and 1.6 dribbles a game, we see him as a closer match for Atalanta's Josip Ilicic. Like Ilicic, he gets off around 4 shots per 90, with 3 of those coming from inside the box, more than Erling Braut Haaland. And his XG numbers are encouraging too, suggesting he should have had 8 goal involvements in Serie A, or 1 every other game. That's very good, given that Fiorentina were outscored by 12 other Italian sides last season, including relegated Lecce, and with the club picking up Patrick Cutrone from Wolves in the winter window, Vlahovic could be available at a cut price fee. 3. Moussa Barrow. Here at FD we're big fans of Moussa Barrow, profiling him on a podcast back in 2018 when he had played under 500 first-team minutes for Atalanta. Now the Gambian is a Serie A regular, moving to Bologna in January on loan with a €13 million obligation to buy. The striker grew up just 5 minutes from the Gambian National Stadium, and now has 7 caps and a goal for his country, and despite arriving mid-season, ended the campaign as Bologna's top scorer with 9. As a child, Barrow idolised Zinedine Zidane, even shaving his hair off to mimic the Frenchman's bald head. But while he is creative, producing over 2 chances a game in 1920, he's really an explosive striker. Among forwards under 24 in Europe's top 5 leagues, only Gabi Jesus and Lautaro Martinez take more shots than him, those being the only 3 to take more than 4 attempts a game, and Barrow also led Bologna in dribbles, completing over 2 per 90. Having come up at one of Italy's most attacking teams, Barrow has contributed a league goal every 121 minutes in his short career to date, and is already attracting interest from Spurs. His stay in Bologna will be short. 2. Alexander Isak. Of our list, Alexander Isak is perhaps most ready for a big move. At 20, the young Swede spearheaded a Real Sociedad side which competed for La Liga's top 4 and finished his maiden season in Spain with 9 league goals. Not a huge total, but impressive in just 14 starts, and the same as Antoine Griezmann managed at Barcelona. Isak added an incredible 8 in 4 appearances in the Copa del Rey, and unlike some of the players we profiled here, he's a pure centre forward, creating few chances for his teammates and completing only around 1 dribble a match. To be honest, he's not a volume shooter either, getting off only 2.6 shots a game, but the shots he does take are spectacular, with nearly 90% of them coming from inside the box. So it's no surprise that in 49 league starts across 4 different countries since his breakthrough with AIK, he's bagged 40 goals and assists, as well as hitting 4 in 12 for the national team. Sold by Borussia Dortmund at a £1 million loss, Isak represents a rare mistake by BVB. And though the Germans retain a €30 million buyback clause, he has said publicly, "Dortmund is my past." The question of what his future will be remains open. 1. Patson Daka. These days, every big club is watching RB Salzburg for the next global superstar, and Patson Daka could be that player. Having sold Takumi Minamino and Erling Haaland in January, the Red Bulls could have struggled for goals down the stretch, but ended up netting 110 in 32 league games, tying their own record despite the season being cut short by 4 matches, and winning their 6th consecutive title. Daka scored 24 of those 110 and assisted another 8, getting involved in a goal every 58 minutes. And at 21, he looks tailor-made for a switch to a top league after 3 titles in Austria. The Zambian is 6 foot, incredibly fast, and 2-footed enough to play on both wings, with 48% of his shots last year right-footed and 40% left. He's also a nightmare for opposition defenders without the ball, pressing relentlessly in Jesse Marsch's aggressive system, and as a consequence has already been linked with other high-octane sides like Liverpool. A brace against the Reds during the 2020 pre-season won't hurt his chances. And if Salzburg can make it through the qualifying rounds, Daka will be their point man in the Champions League group stage. Don't rule out another January exit. So guys, that was 10 strikers who won't break the bank this summer. What did you guys think of the rundown, and which one of those do you want your club to sign? Let me know in the comments down below. As I said earlier, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video, and I'll see you next time.